If you are disabled and working remotely and your director has just told you that your condition is beginning to affect team morale, stop what you are doing and start recording everything. I'm telling you this from the other side of a process that has taken 2 years, cost me more than I can fully calculate, and is not yet finished. The appeal is still running. I want to tell you about the moment the employment tribunal judge said something that made my solicitor close her notebook and look at the ceiling, and about what that meant for what came next. But first I need to tell you what happened before that moment, because the before is where most people live. In the part of the story before anything is resolved, when the letters are arriving and the account is emptying and you are trying to remember the last time you felt like a person rather than a problem someone needed to manage away. My name is Elliot. I am 38 years old. I have a degenerative joint condition that was diagnosed at 31 and which has, over the subsequent 7 years, progressively limited my mobility. I can walk short distances. I cannot stand for extended periods. I have 2 good hours in the morning before the stiffness sets in with the particular authority of something that has decided it lives in my body now and is not leaving. I manage it. I have learned to manage it the way you learn to manage anything that is permanent, not by solving it, but by building your life in a shape that works around it. For 4 years, that shape included a fully remote position as a data analyst for a mid-sized logistics company based in Birmingham. The role had been remote from the point of hiring. It was described in my contract as a home-based position. I had a reasonable adjustments agreement in place, documented and signed, that confirmed home working as an ongoing requirement given my condition. I delivered good work. I met my targets. I had 3 consecutive annual reviews rated at the second highest performance level. My manager for the first 2 years was a woman who understood what she was looking at when she saw my output and left me to produce it. Then she left, and a man named Roger arrived. Roger was 47 years old, newly promoted to operations director, and had the specific energy of someone who has just been given authority for the first time and is still working out how to wear it. He believed, with a conviction I found both sincere and catastrophic, that teams performed better when they were physically present. He had said this at his first all-hands meeting. He had repeated it at his second. He had, by the 3rd month of his tenure, initiated a return-to-office policy requiring all Birmingham-based staff to attend the office at least 3 days per week. I was not Birmingham-based. I was home-based, by contract, by reasonable adjustments agreement, by the documented requirements of my condition as confirmed by my GP, my specialist, and an occupational health report that the company itself had commissioned 18 months earlier. None of this appeared to have reached Roger. Now, I want to stop and ask you something, because I think you need to hold it as we go forward. This story contains a director who either did not know about my adjustments agreement or knew and did not consider it binding. I have never been able to establish which. And the reason I cannot establish which is the thing that makes me quietly furious. Because if he did not know, then the company failed to inform him of a legally protected arrangement before giving him authority over the people it covered. And if he did know, then he decided to proceed anyway. I want you to hold both possibilities simultaneously, because both of them represent a failure, and I could only sue for one of them. In February, 3 months after Roger's return to office policy, I received an email addressed to me from Roger, copied to HR. It stated that my continued home working arrangement was presenting challenges for team cohesion and integration, and that he would like to discuss my return to office attendance with a view to aligning with the broader team approach. It described my situation as something the team was finding difficult to navigate around. My condition: a documented, adjusted, legally protected disability. Difficult to navigate around. I forwarded the email to the HR department and to my own personal email simultaneously. I am telling you this because forwarding emails to your personal address is something the company's solicitors later argued I should not have done, and I want you to understand why I did it. I had been working in disability-adjusted roles for 7 years. I had learned with a specific and hard-won knowledge that documentation lives in company systems until it is inconvenient, and then it becomes unavailable or misfiled or superseded by a later policy. I was not going to let my reasonable adjustments agreement become unavailable. I was right about that. The HR department responded within 4 days, not to challenge Roger's email, to arrange a meeting. The meeting was framed as a supportive conversation about my well-being and working arrangements. I attended it on a Tuesday afternoon via video call, sitting at my desk in my home office, which smelled of the particular combination of coffee and printed documents that defines a space where someone works very hard in a very small area. The HR manager on the call was a woman named Sandra. She was 42 years old, careful, and had the quality of someone who has been asked to do something she's not comfortable with and is trying to do it without leaving fingerprints. She asked me how I was finding remote working. She asked whether I felt connected to the team. She asked with the specific gentleness of someone delivering a message they did not write, whether I had considered that some in-person attendance might support my professional development and relationships with colleagues. I told her I had a reasonable adjustments agreement. She said she was aware of that. She said she was also aware that circumstances change and that the company was keen to support me in any updated assessment of my needs. I said my needs had not changed. She said she understood. 3 weeks later, I was placed on a performance improvement plan. The plan cited communication gaps, insufficient contribution to team meetings that took place in a Birmingham office I could not attend, and what it described as a pattern of working in isolation, inconsistent with the collaborative expectations of the role. The collaborative expectations of a role that had been hired as and contracted as a home-based position. The performance improvement plan ran for 60 days. I met every target within it. I have the records. On the 61st day, I was called into a video meeting with Roger and Sandra and informed that my employment was being terminated on the grounds of capability. The capability in question was, as far as I could determine, my inability to come into an office that my contract, my adjustments agreement, and my medical documentation all confirmed I was not required to attend. I was terminated. I want to tell you about the financial reality of what followed, because it is the center of this story and I am not going to soften it. My salary had been £37,000. My statutory redundancy and notice pay totaled £11,400. I had a mortgage with 9 years remaining and monthly payments of £1,040. I had a car adapted for my condition, financed at £312 a month. I had a specialist appointment every 3 months at a private clinic because the NHS waiting list for my condition was 14 months, and I had learned over 7 years that 14 months is a long time to wait when the condition is degenerative. I had £11.38 in my current account on the day I received the termination letter. I know the exact figure because I checked it immediately after the video call, the way you check something when you need to know the shape of the thing you are in. The £11. I contacted a CAS the same afternoon. The early conciliation process produced no result. I instructed a solicitor named Priya through a disability employment legal service that operated on a conditional fee basis. She read my file, the contract, the adjustments agreement, the occupational health report, Roger's email, the performance improvement plan, the termination letter, in sequence, without interrupting, and then said, "This is one of the clearest cases I have seen in 5 years." She filed at the Employment Tribunal in April. The claim covered disability discrimination under the Equality Act 2010, specifically direct discrimination and failure to make reasonable adjustments. It also covered unfair dismissal and wrongful dismissal. Total compensation sought, £44,800, calculated against my salary, projected loss of earnings, and injury to feelings. The company's response arrived 8 weeks later. It was thorough. They accepted that I had a reasonable adjustments agreement. They did not accept that the performance improvement plan or the termination had been connected to my disability. They argued that the performance concerns were genuine and independently assessed. They argued that Roger had applied the return to office policy consistently and had made good faith efforts to support my integration. They produced performance data, they produced meeting attendance logs, they produced a statement from Roger describing his genuine commitment to inclusive management. Then they made a settlement offer, £22,000, half the claimed amount, no admission of liability, a confidentiality agreement. Priya presented it to me. I looked at my bank account. I thought about the mortgage and the car and the private clinic appointment in 6 weeks. Priya said, "It is your decision." She said it the way someone says it when they think you might be about to make the harder choice. I said no. I said no because of something I had not told Priya yet. Something I'd been sitting on since the termination, uncertain whether it was relevant, uncertain whether producing it would help or complicate. Here is the thing I withheld until 2/3 of the way through my own legal process. Sandra had sent me a message. Not an official communication, a WhatsApp message sent at 9:47 on a Sunday evening, 6 days after my termination. From her personal number, it read, "I want you to know I raised the adjustments agreement at every stage. I was told that the business direction had changed. I am sorry. Please keep this between us." She had raised it at every stage and had been told the business direction had changed. I showed it to Priya. She looked at it for a long time. Then she said, "This changes the shape of the case considerably." She meant that Sandra's message, if admissible, established that the company had been aware of the conflict between the return to office policy and my adjustments agreement at the most senior level, and had proceeded anyway. Not negligence, not ignorance, a decision, a documented, internally discussed, and actively overridden decision. We amended the claim. We applied for Sandra to be compelled as a witness. The company objected. The tribunal ruled she could be called. The hearing was in November. The tribunal building in Birmingham was grey and functional and smelled of the specific institutional carpet that exists in every building where important things happen to ordinary people. I arrived by adapted taxi. I sat in a waiting room on a chair with armrests at the right height, which I noticed because after 7 years of disability, you notice the small architectural courtesies when they appear. Priya was beside me with the file. The file was substantial. I had built it the way I build everything now, methodically, exhaustively, because I've learned that the only protection available to someone in my position is documentation. The employment tribunal judge was a woman named Frances. On the second morning, after Roger had given his evidence, which was detailed and composed and described his management philosophy with a sincerity I found both impressive and hollow, Frances looked at Priya and said, "I would like to understand the timeline between the business direction discussion and the initiation of the performance improvement plan." She did not look at Roger when she said it. She looked at his solicitor. His solicitor asked for a short adjournment. Frances gave her 20 minutes. During the adjournment, the company's solicitor approached Priya with a revised offer, £38,000, enhanced confidentiality, a reference, still no admission of liability. Priya conveyed it to me in a corridor. I was eating a cereal bar from my bag because I had learned from long days in hospitals and waiting rooms that you always bring your own food. She waited for me to finish it. Then she said, "It is your decision." I said no again. Not because £38,000 is nothing. It is not nothing. It was more than my annual salary. It would have cleared the mortgage arrears I'd accumulated in the 8 months since termination and left something remaining. Priya had told me it was a reasonable offer. My partner had told me it was a reasonable offer. The cereal bar had no opinion. I said no because of Roger's email, finding difficult to navigate around. I said no because that language is in a document, and if this case reaches a judgment, that language will be in a public tribunal record. I said no because the company's solicitor had not offered to include an acknowledgement that the reasonable adjustments agreement had been improperly overridden. No admission of liability means the next disabled remote worker in a company that has decided its business direction has changed will have no record that this happened. And I am not willing to be the person who took the money and made sure that records stayed empty. Francis did not deliver a judgment at the hearing. The case was adjourned for written submissions. We are awaiting the outcome. The appeal against a preliminary ruling on disclosure is also still running. I cannot tell you how this ends because I do not know yet. What I can tell you is that Sandra sent me another message 3 weeks ago. It said, "I still think about it." I said, "I know." She said, "I hope it goes the way it should." I said, "Me too." The desk where I work is in the spare room of my partner's house, where I have been living since I could no longer afford my own mortgage. It is a small room. It faces east. So in the morning, the light comes in at an angle that is, depending on my mood, either beautiful or deeply ironic. My adapted chair is positioned precisely where I need it. The coffee is within reach. The file is on the shelf. I start at 9 and I finish when I finish. And in between, I am trying to keep hold of the thing that brought me here, which is this. The company knew about my adjustments agreement, discussed overriding it, and proceeded. That fact exists. I have the message. I have the timeline. I have £44,800 worth of legal argument being assembled around it. The judgment is pending. Here is what I want to leave you with. Not a question about what you would have done with the settlement, though that is worth thinking about. Something simpler: if you have a reasonable adjustments agreement, forward a copy to your personal email today. Not because you distrust your employer, because business directions change, because directors arrive, because an agreement that lives only in a company server is an agreement that lives at the company's discretion. Paper is power. In my experience, so is a 9:47 Sunday evening WhatsApp message from someone who had the courage to tell the truth when nobody was asking her to. The file is on the shelf. The light comes in at 9. The appeal continues.